to the Cinementalists. Noun, plural. Definition, those whose love for movies runs so deep, they can't help but do a podcast about them. Hosted by Colton Robertson and Joseph George. Hello everybody and welcome in to the Cinementalists and a very Merry Christmas to you. We are celebrating by covering The Holdovers. It was released on November 10th of last year, 2023. It was written by David Hemmingson and it stars Paul Giamatti, Divine Joy Randolph, and Dominic Sessa. I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And man, what a special fucking movie this is. Merry Christmas, buddy.
Ah, yeah, of course. Merry Christmas to you. And
Thank you.
yeah, I don't know of a better movie we could have picked to cover here. And yeah, it's just I don't know. We said that this was going to be a Christmas classic eventually, and that we must have it in the rotation. And I don't know. I think it just solidified that I mean it is absolutely going to be
1 year removed, the first Christmas after, and it's better than I remember.
Yeah.
You know? Like I was like, oh, wait a second. This movie is that fucking good, huh? One of those watches where it made me realize 2023 was insane. Movie wise. Like, for example, we're covering on New Year's Eve a mutually agreeable one of our favorite movies of the year, Challengers, which right now I have at number 1 on my 2024 ranking. Holdovers would slot in at 1 of 2024 easy, and it was like outside of my top 5 for 2023, which is insane, dude. Now there's some pretty key ones I haven't watched from this year. I haven't watched Anora, I haven't watched The Brutalist, I haven't watched, Nosferatu and all this, So like there's plenty of stuff I haven't seen yet, but I don't know. There's something special about this, and something special as a whole about last year's movies that we got. But how are you feeling after this watch?
Yeah, I feel the same exact way because, like, even on my list, the movies that are below the Holdovers on the 2023 list are still they're still on the top of the 2024 list. Like, I mean, like, I guess La Chimera is kind of a weird one. I don't know where to place it. I don't know what year it fully belongs in, but like Poor Things, Zone of Interest, even Ferrari.
Zone of Interest is
so like I mean there's a lot. It feels like the last year we were blessed a little bit. I don't know, the movie gods just gave us quite
Spoiled
the
us.
year. Yeah, I don't know if it was just an exceptionally good year, and then now we're kind of like, yo, why can't we keep up the pace, or if that.
Well, there's a lot of folks who will contend 2022 is an even better movie year than 2023, which I don't fully agree with. But, no, I would say we are, I don't think any year is a bad year for movies, because, I do love Challengers. I do love Dune 2. I put La Chimera this year because I didn't get a chance to watch it till like halfway through this year. Love Lies Bleeding. I saw The TV Glow, The Beast. There's a bunch of great movies that came out this year. But the top of that list is shorter than the top of the list for last year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And no, it's interesting because this one, it's like the movie kicks off. I showed it to Emily. She didn't watch it last year with me, and she finally got around to it this time around. And like we were like 5 minutes in, and she's like, "Man, I wish we would have seen this in the movie theater." And I was like, I know, like, this is fucking gorgeous. It was, it's unbelievably good looking. And I think that the distance time has given us, kind of only showed us that more because, like I said, 2023 was an absurdly good year. Like, we'd been watching Killers of the Flower Moon and Oppenheimer and, Asteroid City and Past Lives and, all these really, really, really unbelievably good looking movies that are grand and unnatural Like Asteroid City is, a gorgeous movie, but obviously not what you would expect anything in real life to look like. Um, Poor Things,
Mhm.
gorgeous movie, same thing there. Oppenheimer, period piece, and bigger than you can imagine. Same with Killers of the Flower Moon, all that good stuff. Um, this is just shot so intimately and so elegantly that when I was watching it, I was floored
Mhm.
that this would be the best looking movie of this year, also by a lot,
Hmm.
which is insane.
Yeah, it I don't know, the pan I noticed a lot of pans, very satisfying pans. Like
Mm.
there's one really early on when it's just going through before when all the faculty and everyone's still there. They're having like this meal, just a big dinner, I think after I don't know, something. And just kind of it's going down the whole table. And then stops on somebody and you hear their conversation. And then just
Mm-hmm.
there's the lands I don't know, whenever they go outside and then like just show
Ooh,
like the buildings at large, I think those always
yeah.
are satisfying. But then I don't know, I
One of the
think
coldest zooms you've ever seen in your life.
mm.
Whenever he walks outside and he's like, "Tolly," and it pulls out, like that's incredible. It's
And
incredible.
yes, funny. I don't know. It was much funnier this watch than I remember. I guess on I don't know. I don't know exactly how I felt the first time. I just remember it being I remember the cries would feel really good. I remember the downs kind of more than the laughter of the first watch. And this one I don't know. I think I just had every emotion going. It was
Yeah.
just I'm crying, I'm laughing, I'm happy, I'm sad, and it's like this really weird kind of polar opposite of a Christmas movie. Like when I think of a Christmas movie to me, it's like Polar Express is kind of the since
Yeah.
childhood we've always watched it just every year, and it's they're going to the North Pole. It's like in
Yeah. They're
they
going to see Santa.
and
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's the whole Christmas spirit is fulfilled, but this one it is at the end of it that it's this little found family, but like throughout a large majority of it, it's not the happiest, movie. Like I mean, there's a
No.
lot of tragedy, but it just
But I think that
works.
that's even more real as
Mm,
a as what Christmas season kind of is for a lot of people.
mm-hmm.
Like if you like seasonal depression, for example.
Mm-hmm.
There's like one good day in December for people with seasonal depression. Like that's
Yeah.
and it's Christmas. And even then sometimes you don't get to have a good day that day. So like I think there's something sort of I'm trying to find the right words. It's the same as anything else. Like the reason why talking through tough times helps you is because it might help you find someone who's also gone through that, and knowing you're not alone in that is nice.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think that's why a Christmas movie that is sad like this and is about mourning your lost and is about a life unfulfilled and all this good stuff. I think that is why this movie is so good, is because they all seem to find their happiness within that unhappiness. While they're all alone, they're alone together, and I think that that's good.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and even before they get alone, whenever there's still that kind of I don't know what to call them. Just that ensemble of kids that are left, all different
Yeah.
age groups and stuff. And it just sets the movie off, I think, well. It kind of gets just the tone set. It's just very I don't know. It's still probably like the first act is the weakest part of the movie, but I still think calling it weak, I don't know. It's the
Yeah, no,
wrong
I'm
word.
with
It's
you.
just
It's it,
it's just
it's
that
it's
it
a slow start. It
mhm.
is,
And
but
then
not in a negative way. It's a slow burn. Like it's a slow burn
mhm.
of a movie. It wants you to set the stage. It wants you to feel that sort of. I think it wants you to feel what Angus is feeling a little bit, like that creeping dread. That's like, oh God, like we're still here. And obviously, when you're watching a movie, it's different than actually being there. But I think that whenever things start to evolve for them, and you know, it becomes Angus just being there, is when the movie starts to really
Mm.
take off.
Oh man, yeah, that's I don't even know when that had like how long into the movie. I wonder like
Yeah, I
this
couldn't
is
tell you either.
yeah, I don't know. Like time wise, I don't know. The movie's just it just, I don't know. It's the easiest watch. I don't know, 2 hours and 13 minutes. I don't know. It doesn't need anything more. Doesn't need to cut out anything. Like it just
Mm-hmm.
has everything paced just perfectly. And I think like for that, like it is this build. Every act just builds on itself, and like it just gets
Yeah.
better and better and
Well, it's
better.
like the layers just keep revealing themselves a little bit. Like I appreciate that everyone at the start of the movie is shallow, like, and not
Mm,
like obviously not literally, but their portrayal of the characters at the beginning is shallow. They're all one dimensional at the beginning of the movie.
mm-hmm.
Um, and they get to know each other and we get to know them at the same time, and that sort of format and that sort of writing is really really strong, which is why like this absolutely earned that best original screenplay nomination. I don't think it won, but
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't think it won.
Let's see. It says won one Oscar, and
I
that's
think past
performance or nominee. Davine Joy, Randolph
Yeah,
won
she won
best
best supporting
performance,
actress,
but
rightfully so.
nominated for original screenplay.
I think
Um,
Past Lives won Best Original Screenplay, which, hard to complain about for me. I love Past Lives. But
mm-hmm.
yeah, no, like this is one of the most impressive original screenplays of last year undoubtedly. And again, if it was this year, would be the most impressive original
Mm,
screenplay of this year.
mm-hmm.
Um
Oh yeah.
and that's what's kind of it's kind of making me realize that in any given year, like when have you ever most of the time when you watch a movie that becomes one of your favorite movies of all time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, it came out in, let's say, fucking 2008. I'm not even thinking of anything in particular, but like, it came out in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
That shit did not sweep the Oscars. And then you look at other years and you're like, oh shit, maybe it could have it could have performed well here. It could have performed well here. It's just
Mm.
everything so it happens when it happens, and I think that creates little gems like the holdovers. But
Man, I don't know that it is kind of crazy to me that someone did just sit down write this story. It isn't based on a book. I don't know, like it,
mm,
and they just wrote it for the movie, shot the movie, boom. I don't. It's just
it's
kind of
really impressive, man. It's really impressive. There's a like the setting of the Vietnam War being the
mm,
backdrop, and that dread
mm-hmm,
of everybody kind of creeping in, and if they're not being dreadful, there's this cool portrayal that if they're not dreadful, since we're watching the movie kind of through the eyes of um Hunnam, that if they're not being dreadful, they're being naive, which isn't true. You know what I'm saying? Like that's obviously not true. That like everyone feels the effects of war whenever war is happening. Like that's
mm-hmm,
that's just how it is, especially in the Vietnam War when kids were being drafted and sent to their death. Essentially, what Paul Hunnam says at the party to his coworker when he's like, "The world's on fire, the rich don't care, and the poor
mm,
are cannon fodder." Like all that stuff. You're like, "Damn, all right, Paul, okay." Like a spit, but she
yeah,
doesn't want to hear that. You
mm-hmm,
know,
yeah. I guess
and
and
and she
obviously,
spins it really positively. Well, if that's the case, then they need you now more than ever, and he really appreciates that sentiment, and it's all a matter of perspective. But yeah, obviously with Mary having lost her son and stuff, that
mm,
becomes all the more um, prescient to the film. And
yeah. Yeah, I don't
oh my
know.
god,
That's not. I don't know. Just now, like I feel like we're just not in that position where they're gonna need every able-bodied, person to go
yeah,
fight in the war, and like I'm not gonna get drafted. They probably wouldn't want me anyways.
yeah, same.
Off of just things I've said vocally and physically. I don't know. I think just I'm a no go for them. But like that fear of just kind of having that in the background of like you
Mm-hmm.
might, you just never know. On a given day, they might come knocking on your door and boom, and then you're gone. And then it's not even like they almost treat it like it is death. Like right then and there, like that moment is like is just I don't know. There's nothing worse than that. And he,
Mm-hmm.
after getting kicked out of 3 schools or whatever, and then just the next step is just the military,
Military,
and
yeah.
that's just what it is, and like having just that doom. I don't know. That's just like a no. Like that's not acceptable. But I don't know. I don't know. I think a perfect like to set it in the Vietnam War instead of like present day. Like if this was present day and then at like some private school, like this or whatever. I don't know.
Hmm.
I wonder like how the movie plays. If
It
it
would
were
definitely be
just.
different. It
Mm-hmm.
would definitely be different. I mean, massively different because we don't have something that is directly relatable to Vietnam in
Mm-hmm.
terms of the way that it affects everybody. Like obviously we have our hands in a lot of pots around the world as far as military with the United States, but none of them are causing my little brother to be concerned that here in a
Mm-hmm.
couple years he'll be drafted. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like that's not something that's happening. So yeah, it would look very different. Like and one of the things that I always think about that's really really interesting in movies modernly is the ability to make cell phones cinematic. You know what I'm saying? Like when a movie can make a cell phone
Mm.
usage cinematic,
Mm-hmm.
they're doing something really really good and really impressive. Like that's a difficult thing to do. And like for example here, it wouldn't have been difficult to get a hold of Angus's parents or his mom.
Ah. Uh-huh.
Like if it was set modernly, they wouldn't just be calling reception and going, well, we can't get a hold of them. They're out. Like, and obviously it
Man.
could be like their phone must be on airplane mode. Their phone must be off. Da, da, da. Like you
Yeah.
could write around it all you want, but like
Mm-hmm.
that sort of distance that she's put between herself and Angus is felt all the more by there literally being an incapability of reaching her.
Man. We really used to just leave, huh? I mean, and just trust. I mean, we had no way of checking in on people. I mean, not really in our lifetimes a whole lot, but like I'm just as humans in general, like it's crazy that just like 40 years ago, like people just had no idea where they were unless you, I guess, called them on the landline or actually saw them in real life. And now, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just we're just so connected to the point where it's like people have everyone's location at all times. It's like you can hop on your phone and know exactly where everyone is. But yeah,
Well, I got the closest experience I've ever had to being
ooh, mm-hmm.
yeah,
Uh-oh, yeah.
like totally disconnected. Just last month, whenever me and Emily went to go visit her family for Thanksgiving, it was the first snow of the season, and we tried to come home, and we got stranded on the side of the road in a town that literally doesn't have a name. Um, like in between cities.
Oh
We
wow.
weren't technically in anybody's
Mm-hmm.
jurisdiction, and we were on the side of the road, and like we didn't have service, and
Oh man.
I had to walk up a icy road like half a mile, and then we ended up hailing a little bit of help, and that guy had to drive me to his house, and I had to like go inside and call people, and like I'm like from and obviously when we got there I called him on my cell phone and stuff because he had service at his place. But
Mm-hmm.
like back in the day I
Wow.
would have gotten to his house and he would let me use his
Mm-hmm.
landline. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just the nicest the niceness of strangers who
Wow.
just allowed me to come into his house and try to figure our shit out. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's really really cool because like I said, we were fucking hopeless there. I was like we slid off the road and I was like, okay, well that sucks. Let's call
Mm-hmm.
somebody. It should be okay. We check our phones and we went, oh fuck,
Oh.
okay, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Man.
so like that's the closest I've ever been to being able
Eesh.
to experience anything relatively like that. Like, and when we did get back on the road, our phones didn't have service for a while, so like our maps didn't work, and we just had to kind of figure out how we were going to get to I-70 and all that good stuff. And
Man, yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Well, there's very great things that have come from phones, and I use them all. We're using it right now, to even
yeah, yeah.
record. There's many great things, but man, what life? I don't know. You just feel like you needed to ask for help. You needed more human interaction more often. back then. And like in this, I feel like that's the heart, at least, of this movie is like it.
Mm.
I think Mary says it eventually. I think is like, people, you just should be with your people during
Yeah.
Christmas. Like it's just kind of what it is. And it might, I don't think she said family. I think she just said like you should just be with your people. Like it's not, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
for most people it's family, but then, for some, their father might be in a mental hospital, and they
Yeah.
have no idea what's wrong, and like there's just, you never know what people are going through. And it's, I think that this, it kind of just highlights it, like in three different characters that are all wildly different, but they all just are going through their own pain, and they all just came together over it. And it was, oh man, yeah, this is easily, like, I mean, even like, I don't know, Polar Express was dethroned, like it should have been on the first watch of the Holdovers. But no, this is the Christmas
Yeah,
movie
kind of certifies itself.
every time
I'm with
now.
you, man, because I mean I was watching it, and uh, this is going to be the first fourth wall break. I can't help it. This won't be. This will probably not be the last time I watch it before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I will probably revisit this.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
This year, which is crazy.
Ooh, I was thinking of introducing it to my family, but I don't know if I could watch this in front of my family. Like that would, I don't know. I know my mother would be an absolute mess. I mean, it would be just
Yeah.
buckets of tears. But like I don't know if I could hold. I don't know. That's a different dynamic, kind of watching it with the family. But I don't know. Maybe we could use it. Maybe we could use a nice holdovers viewing, eventually.
Oh,
But
the Holdovers. It's special, man, and like I think my mom and dad tried to watch it like last year, and then something came up, and like they ended up putting it down. But like, my dad's a big Paul Giamatti fan. I think I could
mm-hmm.
definitely, and this is top two Paul Giamatti Christmas movies. Definitely top one, but he's also the best cinematic Santa ever in Fred Claus
Fred. Oh
with Vince
wait.
Vaughn. I don't know if you've ever watched that.
Oh my God. Wait, no,
Um,
this is. Oh my God. Wait. Wait. What? Oh man, I forgot this movie existed until right now. Oh
Oh, I
man.
watch that every year, man. And Paul Giamatti is the best cinematic Santa ever, and I mean that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to. I don't really know of many cinematic Santas, I guess, even in the first place. But no, this, wow, that unlocks some crazy childhood memories right there. 2007. Wow, yeah,
That's a
that
classic right there. That's a
okay.
Christmas classic. Gotta revisit that.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, but I don't know. Paul Giamatti, I think, was the highlight for me on this watch. I think, I don't know. He just kind of, the humor that he gave, like just the, whenever he was alone, and kind of at night doing his little stretches, or like his little fart, his little
yeah,
drink, or
his
um,
like whenever he's about to bowl, and he does the little
the
arm
arm.
circles.
Yes. Oh my God. He does. I feel like he does that all the time. Like that's his kind of like,
His little
ooh.
character quirks, like there's this, an Asteroid City actually points something out similar to it. Whenever Jason Schwartzman goes backstage and talks to Adrian Brody, and he's like, "Am I doing it right?"
Mm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and Adrian Brody asks, like, "I don't know, man. Like, I think you're doing really, really good, and it's a lot. You got the sideburns, and you got the pipe, and you got the camera, and you got this. Like, and he doesn't realize what he's talking about. But
Mm-hmm.
that's relevant anyway. Like, that he has all these layers, and you look at Paul Hunnam's character with the fedora and the pipe and the
Mm.
mustache and the scarf and everything he's always got going on. It gives you the illusion of a man who's hiding himself a little bit.
Mm.
And I think that that's really, really strong. One of my
Mm-hmm.
favorite shots of this movie, and it's just this really, really great fade, and it might be my favorite shot of the movie. I love the fading transitions, the way
Mm.
that scenes just kind of dissolve into one another. But we cut from one thing to Paul Giamatti smoking his pipe,
Mm-hmm.
watching Angus skate.
Ooh. Oh, okay. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's this shot from like kind of behind his head. It's almost profile, but it's not quite far enough on the side of his face to be profile. And he's just kind of like he's almost a silhouette, and you see the hat, you see the pipe, you see the smoke coming out of his mouth, and you see him like just watching. We got
Mm.
Christmas lights in the
Mm-hmm.
background. It's really really strong, and in that moment it just that's when that thought occurred to me that like he's buried himself behind this persona, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought you were talking of a different shot, actually, that kind of is a little more funny, rather than like I think cinematic or beautiful looking. But it was when Angus was just doing laps, or he was making them run, and
Right.
he's out there and just smoking his pipe, and he as Angus is running by, he hits it a little more. He's like, and just kind of to fill the look, I think. But then he just starts coughing. He's like, "Oh no, that was like, yeah,
Yes.
that was too much." It was like he
They run by and
he
it's
overdid it.
like,
Yeah.
if without exercise the body devours itself, and and
Uh,
and then he can't even stand there smoking without coughing.
oh man, yeah. It's just it was just little like things like when the camera is just left on Paul Giamatti, and he
He's
that's
so good.
that's why I think like he has the most consistent performance across the whole movie, but like the peak, like who peaked in the movie, that's why I think the Oscar went to Davine Joy Randolph. There is like just she has like
Yeah.
the scene, and I think I don't know exactly whenever we first said this, but like there's the scene that is shown at the Oscars before their nomination, and this one, I mean, I don't. Hmm, I'm
Take your
trying.
pick a little bit, buddy.
Yeah,
Which one are you going
that's what I
with
was
here?
gonna say. Is like, wait a minute. There's scenes, plural here on
I
this
mean,
one.
like when she's in the kitchen, and the he's gone,
Uh,
like that part's fucking. Oh my god, that tears me up.
Whenever
One of
she's
my
even
favorite
drunk,
moments in the
listening to the
movie is when
music
she
too.
goes home. Oh,
Mm.
sorry. Go ahead.
Ooh, no, 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 no. This is way better. No, this scene is no. Please
Oh, when she
continue on
goes
this
home
one.
and she's
Mm-mm.
opening the box of the baby stuff, and then
Mm-mm.
we get that slow fade to like her talking to her sister on the bed, and
Mm-hmm.
the husband comes in, and you can tell it's been like
Ooh.
hours, like he hasn't been able to see his wife for a while because they've been sitting there talking to each other, and it's
Mm-mm.
it's it's
Yeah.
good stuff, man. That's
it's
good stuff.
it's emotionally charged already, just her going home, and then the box opens and like the tears start a little bit, but then when the sister just walks in the room, whenever she just
And
enters
hugs her.
frame, boom, gone. Yeah, I mean, oh my god, no, it was over from there. And then yeah, I feel like the whenever, oh, is it, there's one I feel like, I don't know if it's in the room where they kind of watch the newlyweds. I don't think it's that room. I don't know what room it's in. I'm trying to think.
But the one where they're all stacked, one after the other, like Paul Giamatti's on the left side of the screen, Divine Joy Randolph's in the like middle, and then in the background you can see Dominic Sessa. Is that the part you're talking about?
Yeah, is maybe that is just, I don't know. I'm thinking of, yeah. I don't know what I'm thinking. Maybe I'm just thinking of the shot during New Year's whenever they light off that firework kind of at the end, and it
Oh,
is just kind of
damn,
zooming
that's
out
good
and
though.
like. But I mean, yeah, I had no. I think it was just the other movies in the year were so like cinematic focus, like Oppenheimer just coming out,
Mm-hmm.
and just like Killers of the Flower Moon, like these are people who are known in the game, like we just know we're going to get a cinematic masterpiece. So I think like I didn't really pay attention to it at all, but then on this watch, it just has this like I don't know, not a grain, but just kind of like this I don't know, just the constant look of the movie that's just, it
Mm-hmm.
follows everywhere. I don't know, this I love the color
It
palette.
looks like a painting.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, yeah.
It reminds me a lot of let's see, what's Barry Lyndon. It's a Stanley Kubrick movie um
mm,
that came out in the mid 70s. But every frame of that looks like it could be an oil painting, is
mm,
essentially what it feels like. And this feels very, very similar. Like one of my favorite shots is Paul Giamatti walking out into the courtyard,
mm-hmm.
and he's the only thing providing any contrast. Like the ground's covered in snow, the
Mm.
background snow is falling.
Mm.
It's like a white screen. You can see the path he's walking. Like there's barely any value to the shadows, and then it's just him, and he's walking through this like white landscape, and it's fucking gorgeous,
Mm.
dude. And he's doing his little stretches during that part too, so it's just a nice little
Uh,
character beat. But
man.
yeah, I mean it's beautiful, and I want to connect it back to the staging I was talking about a second ago. Whenever he's talking about his monograph,
Mm. Oh,
and
okay. Yes. Thank you.
yeah,
That this
this
is
scene
what.
provides my
Okay.
favorite line of. I mean, the line of the decade, maybe.
Mm.
Also, by the way, whenever, um, you know, Angus is like, "Why not just write a whole book?" And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, I don't think I have a book in me." And she goes, "You can't even dream a whole dream, can you?" I
Damn.
fucking lose it, man. And just the way, like, there are so many, like, Divine Joy Randolph has a performance that is incredibly nuanced but even more so than Paul Giamatti, which is crazy. She has a little bit more of a she has those moments, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the Oscar moments where you point to that scene and you go, "Yeah, that's an Oscar-worthy performance." There's just kind of a character building that Paul Giamatti does
Mm-hmm.
that makes Paul Hunnam so fucking real. And it's these little things he does with his face and the ticks he does with his body. Um, like whenever she says that, there's this look on his face that he's like, "Yeah, I can't." My favorite piece of facial acting in the movie is when he's at the party
Mm-hmm.
and the chick he's been hitting it off with gets
Oh.
up to greet her boyfriend, and he watches them kiss, and he just turns around and sits there,
Oh.
and he like
Yep.
blinks, and I'm like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my god, he like perfectly captured a feeling almost everybody has had at some point,
Mm-hmm.
in like a single look. Like you don't even, it's just the way he looked at that moment. You're like, oh man, dude, yeah, that's not good.
Man. Yeah, I mean, in his defense, she was sending him some signals, you know. I mean, the cookies at the beginning, you know, like I didn't make these just for anybody. Like, and then she's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I only made them for you, actually." And then
right.
it's like, so I mean, I don't know. There were some signals there. But man, yeah, no, that
Well,
look
and I
was.
think that goes back to us watching the movie through Paul Hunnam. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like, we get to perceive everybody almost on the same level that Paul Hunnam gets to perceive them. Um, like we get to know Angus better through Paul, and
Mm.
we only get to know him better when Hunnam gets to know him better. Um, and I connected it at the beginning to like everybody's really shallow at the beginning. A Hunnam is making himself that way. You know what I'm saying? And it's only when
Mm.
he's more comfortable that he starts revealing himself a little bit to them, and that's what we're seeing there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like us picking up those signals, he's picking up those signals, and Angus
Mm.
picks up those signals. He's like, "You two have chemistry. Like you guys are
Mm-hmm.
hitting it off. Like all that stuff." I think it just kind of goes to show that if Hunnam is willing to open himself up, he's capable of that sort of connection. He just doesn't allow himself to feel it unless somebody's already sending him that vibe.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. This I don't know. Just a track. Very weird feelings for me, like about this movie. I don't know. Just being like, I feel in this very weird middle ground between Paul Hunnam and Angus, where it's like if I stumble too much in the wrong direction, I become a bad student and I become Angus. But then if I just stay in Rolla forever for the rest of my life, I become Paul Hunnam. You know, I feel like I lose
Right.
everything, and then I don't like it. So it's like this is just kind of a like at the end of the movie, it's like they both benefit from this. Like even though Paul gets fired, you know, at the end. Like he
It's what
like
he
this.
needed.
Yes, this is like he needed to go, and like he just needed to leave and start his life, and then now Angus is gonna, you know, he has a different view on life, I think, you know, and just
Hmm.
he'll move forward with the experiences now, and I think
Well, and he's been given the privilege of continuing down his path.
Mm,
He hasn't been handed a death warrant, essentially.
mm-hmm.
Like his life
That's
could have
true.
been saved by this, which is it's insane to frame it that way, but that's real shit. Like his life is
Mm,
literally saved by this potentially,
yeah.
which is
Yeah.
a wild
Oh,
like, and
man.
that's what adds a layer to Mary being present the whole time is like just the whole idea that these kids could be at danger, and none of them are. Like none of the kids that we see are at
Mm-hmm.
danger of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Paul points that out. He's like, kids from Barton don't go to Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
like they don't go to Vietnam, and except Curtis Lamb, except Curtis Lamb. And I
Mm.
love the
Oh.
racist subtext
Mm-hmm.
that they utilize so often in this movie. Like Kuntz very clearly disrespects Mary because she's black,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and she gets that. He knows that. He's like visually appalled by the idea of her sitting with them to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like just, and then whenever they introduce the janitor, and he's like the only friend she has, really,
Mm.
and like whenever he gets to the party, he goes to her first because she's the only other black person in the room. Like and I think
Mm-hmm.
that that's the way that they build that sort of a layer to it. Whenever it specifically pays off for me, whenever Paul Giamatti delivers that line where
Ooh.
Angus is like, "Except Curtis Lamb," and he goes, "Except Curtis Lamb," like, and
Mm-hmm.
you can feel the pain he has for Mary, and
Mm-hmm.
for generally the whole state of everything, and I think that I don't think I gave this movie enough credit in that regard last year, was how politically keen it was.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh yeah. Like
it's sharp, man. It's sharp as a tack.
when Paul like finally lets it go at the whenever what was the kid that gave Mary the nasty look?
Kuntz.
Kuntz. Yeah, Kuntz.
Yeah.
And so yeah, whenever he gives her that look, and Mary obviously saw it and was like, "Oh, okay, I'm good." And Paul finally is like, "Okay, you know what? This little shit deserves it."
For
Uh
most people, life is like a henhouse ladder,
oh,
shitty and short.
damn.
I love it. I love
Ooh.
it.
And another one of those the fade transitions there. Right, he has his finger up, I think, or maybe like a knife or a fork, maybe something like that, and just a fade transition there, which was
Yeah.
nice. And man, yeah, it's just they get the war right. They get the racial charged, just everything politically. I don't know if there's really a part of the movie I can't complain about. And it's like it didn't even need that. It's like
No, no, no.
it's not even a large part of the movie, but it's just done so well. And then just kind of, oh man, I don't. There's so many moments that just like get me to instantly just like I don't think I'm gonna cry, and then the moment hits, and I'm just like, oh fuck, like I don't.
Mm.
It's just the threshold has been reached, and I don't know. I guess the end is kind of just this constant, more of a constant cry with
Steady
peaks
flow.
throughout,
Yeah.
and just the whenever Angus thinks he's about to go to boarding school, and he just says that he's like, "Yeah, I think I'm getting kicked out. That means
She just holds his hand.
oh my
No.
god, just that little extension, just like no words spoken. It's really like the moments where no words are spoken, and it's just everyone
Mm-hmm.
understands each other, and oh my god, I don't know. It's this a crazy mix of three people. Like I don't know why. I texted you like I want this experience a little bit. I want to be like in this
Right.
abandoned, not really abandoned, but just very bare bones and really get to know just two random people that I would never get to know through any
Right.
other way. And but no, I think I will enjoy Christmas with the family. I'm very grateful that I do have all the things I do. I think that's even it just is why this movie fits so well in the Christmas time. Is like it can only enhance if Christmas is good. It's like man, it's like even like so many people have it worse. Like it can only make my Christmas I think better. And
Right.
it's I don't know. It's just an absolute a constant in a lot of movies is like it's either I think I said that it's like it has to be unique or not trying to be anything else. But man, why does every good movie like not just take place in the present time, or like it's always some different time
Yeah,
period,
little
or
period.
yeah, or like even like a Star Wars where it's obviously not focused on the time period, but
Right.
it is set in a retro futuristic style. Like the time is
Mm-hmm.
always, I don't know, a factor, I feel like.
I
And
think that there's something to be said for the idea that, because there are movies set in the modern day that resonate with us,
mhm.
But I do think that the benefit of time kind of puts distance between you and the subject a little bit. And it
Mm.
grants you access to something you're unfamiliar with, like,
Ooh. Mhm.
and I'm gonna go with another 2023 movie because it's one of my favorite examples of modern filmmaking set presently, Past Lives.
Mhm.
Um, that movie, and even then, it has a little bit of a period thing going on. The early 2010s with the Skype and
Yeah.
all that
Okay,
all that good
true.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But even so, it comes around to be mostly present day.
Mhm.
And it's one of my favorite examples of that because it feels like that, and it's weird, like to set something satisfyingly in the present day that feels like it's in the present day. Usually, whenever something's set in the present day, it ignores that very fact almost. It just is. It just
Mhm.
exists.
Yeah.
I think that heightening the environment and the setting only makes things better. Like when you're focused on the production design, that then the way that you have to be focused on production design when it comes to period pieces,
Hmm.
it enhances the entire experience.
Yeah. This might
I think
I guess
Flower Moon and Oppenheimer and Asteroid City and all those things, like they're set in the uh, 30s, 40s, 50s, and they feel like they're set in the 30s, 40s, 50s, like it's
mhm.
really, really strong. And then this is a 70s movie, man. It might as well be a 70s movie. It's straight out of the fucking 70s. It's
Mhm.
cold, man. I love it.
I don't know if this is like bad to say, but like a movie that's set in present time, like I feel like people feel their own suffering and know that suffering, it's there, it's present. But to know that it's like it's always been a thing, kind of, like even you're watching
Mm.
a movie from the 50s or from the 30s, it's like, oh, people still had the same problems that we are going through today. Like obviously they might be in a little different context or with some added technology or problems that couldn't
Hmm.
have existed before, but problems nonetheless. It's like and
So,
is
like, exactly what Paul Hunnam was talking about in the museum.
ooh, yeah, just add a little pornography and a little bit of, just regular speak as a human, and man, yeah, history sounds pretty fucking cool. And
Yeah, no,
yeah,
but like even what he's getting at prior to
yeah.
Angus, like when he's talking about how, we're all connected. In order to understand your
Mm.
present, you have to understand your
Mm-hmm.
past and all that good stuff. Like
Yeah.
I think that's real shit, and I think that like there are movies that I think will benefit from the passage of time, um, that I think are just like a little too prescient,
Mm.
like a movie that isn't regarded normally very high is Glass Onion. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Glass Onion will one day
Oh.
be looked back on as a really, really important and really, really good encapsulation of the early 20s. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, there will come a point when people are like, wow, that's a 2020 ass movie. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
but it's just a
Okay.
little too
Yeah.
on the nose for us right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Mm-hmm.
because I like Glass Onion, but I don't like it nearly as much as I like Knives Out, and I don't like it nearly as much as I like some other movies.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, the whole pandemic,
but
the
I do think
masks,
one
the
day,
yeah, like the at the
yeah,
beginning,
I
like
think
for
20
sure.
years
Yeah.
from now, 20, 25 years from now, somebody will go watch Glass Onion and be like, holy shit, that's what the 20s were like. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I think that's cool. There's something to admire there. Um,
Hmm.
but,
Yeah, it's
like a weird movie that kept popping to mind, and not particularly weird, it's definitely connected just through the Vietnam, but Apocalypse Now. Like,
mm.
that's my frame of reference for the Vietnam War since I was born in 2000 is movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the the literal. I understand the weight of that pain and that decision, and that lack of choice in being sent, because I've watched Apocalypse Now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why movies are fucking dope, because like a different movie is informing the tragedy of this movie for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously there are people who lived through that and they would understand it
Mm-hmm.
all the more, and like I can understand that, like, holy shit, if I was going to be sent to war, that would be awful. Like, I can't even fathom that. If that was a real thing, that was, like all that stuff, whatever. Um, but like what is informing my understanding of the tragedy of this movie, which is Curtis's death,
Mm.
like I'm imagining like Lawrence Fishburne's character getting gunned down in Apocalypse
Yeah.
Now, essentially. You know what I'm saying? Like the young kid who was 16, 17, had a whole life ahead of him,
Uh,
and he gets shot and killed in Vietnam. Like it's devastating. It's devastating stuff. And
mm.
I think that's why movies are cool, man. Like I'm using other movies to
Yeah.
inform my understanding of this movie, and it, again, to connect it to the period thing. I think that's what makes period pieces and stuff so strong, is that like you have a whole other swath of art to inform your understanding of this piece,
Mm-hmm.
whereas modernly it's just real life is kind of informing it, like real current events, real things that are happening.
Yeah.
And that's cool. It's understandable.
Yeah, big
But
difference between like reading it out of a textbook and like here's the literal facts of what happened during Vietnam, and then like
right,
seeing what people, people in the present day acting like a person would going through Vietnam. I don't know, like that's
right,
maybe that's it, is like knowing that these people are alive right now. Like they are present people, actors, but they can still portray as if they're they lived through the 1970s. They are actually
right.
going through the Vietnam War right now, and it's, I don't know. I've been using like, I don't know, shared suffering, or like it's all kind of bad, but I think it's just like it's not really just suffer. It's just sharing just experiences at large. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's just like the more, I don't know. Like Paul is so closed off, and I feel like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, like he has, he smells, and he says like, yeah, I can't break down whatever the long,
Trimethylamine.
thank you,
Yeah.
yeah, and like he can't do that, and then like his hands sweat, his feet sweat. That's all, and like he has like kind of like a medical reason for everything, and I wonder if it is truly, that, or like if that is just like because he does kind of, he lies to cover up certain things, like whenever the Harvard, his roommate
Right.
for
Right.
whatever from Harvard comes in and is like, yeah, and he makes up that whole, where he's teaching and everything, and a detail I forgot, that like, oh yeah, this dude actually went to Harvard for a little bit, and of course, got kicked out just for his dick roommate
That scene's
politics.
incredible,
Yeah.
by the way. Whenever they're walking through the liquor store,
Mm.
um, it's a oneer,
Oh.
and they're just acting their asses off, where the
Mm.
camera's just sat, and they make a circle
Mm.
around the liquor store while they're
That's
talking, and then they
ooh.
arrive at the counter, and he's like, "All right, that'll be $2, killer."
That's a
I
oneer?
love it.
Oh,
I'm pretty
damn.
sure. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I didn't pick that one up, but I mean, maybe just because I was so into the scene there. Yeah, and like I don't that whenever they leave, and Angus just goes, "What the fuck was that?" Like what
What
the
the
fuck?
fuck
Yeah,
just
like
happened?
what?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I
that
love
what
it.
did
I love whenever he gets over the top. It might be okay for you to sit inside and read books all day, but I'm losing my goddamn mind.
Yeah.
I love what he does with this movie. And again, it's insane that this was his first movie role.
Wow.
Insane that he was just attending the school they were shooting at and tried out, and they were like, "Yeah, we like you, dog."
That's insane. That is, I mean, hats off to the guy. I mean, man, yeah, I wonder what he was thinking of going to school for. If he thought, if acting was even in the realm at all, or if he was like, ah, I'll try this out. Um,
Yeah, right.
wow,
Yeah, I don't
yeah, I
know,
mean that,
but
yeah, not even. I guess he looks like Now You See Me 3, possibly.
he's
Upcoming.
going to be the lead in
Um,
the Anthony Bourdain biopic. He's going to play Anthony Bourdain.
oh, okay, okay, let's go. Yeah, I don't know. He just he's why, I don't know. He's got a unique look. Like he's his neck particularly. I noticed this. I don't know. He uses his
Mm-hmm.
neck, um, like very he's very expressive. I don't know. I feel like with his
His head
body.
is very independent from the
Yes.
rest of his body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he can use it as like a facial expression. And I don't know. It's
Yeah.
something. I don't know. It's just a different tool in the bag. I think that he has. But man, yeah, he's going up against, I mean, there's just two other people that are acting their asses off aside of him. But man, yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
everyone. I mean, these three here are just filling their characters so well that like I don't know. I don't really see Paul Giamatti. Like it is just Paul. Like he has that.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't know
Paul
this.
Hunnam.
Yeah, and then just looking like I knew, which eye to look at, after the first watch. So like, I was looking at that eye, or I was trying to. Whenever I didn't remember it at the very beginning of the movie, but then I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm supposed to be looking at the good one, or like it's this one at the end, and then it just makes that moment at the end hit even better,
Mm-hmm.
and it
I
he.
just love that. I love that it switches throughout the movie. Like he says, it's this one, and then
Oh
they
wait,
cut to him
that's
walking away, and
right.
it's the other eye. Um,
I forgot. Oh man. Oh, that is. Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, it is.
yeah, they switch
It's
his lazy eye throughout the movie.
what like just. Oh man. Wow. And I thought I was even picking up on it this time. Nope. I just maybe I'm just looking at whichever one was the good one. I'm terrible with like left and rights or like a person like a mirrored. I don't know the person that's facing me like their left shoulder. Like it's crazy that people like can just on a football field like look at a player and be like, oh yeah, that's his left shoulder. Or like he just like I don't know. I don't know why that's so difficult for me to like just look at a person and know which side is their left or right. But yeah, I had no clue it was switching even this time whenever I thought I was even picking up on it. But man, I don't know. The part I love about that, like whenever he's like he does say it's this one. Like I don't it's not really that moment of like that they're connecting where he can tell him, hey, look at this eye. It's more of um like he feels fulfilled there. He's like I wanted he said I don't know who he was talking to, but he's like I thought I could have purpose here or I thought I could make an impact
mm,
in here. And I think like this if he had a purpose or if he had like a meaning for being here, like it was kind of this moment. It was to kind of save Angus from going in the military and then also for him to finally realize that he needs to move on and go and it was it's not the impact I think he was thinking like he wanted to inspire the youth and and teach them to be good young men whatever but then it actually ends up just being very small it's him and just a young kid that ends up getting the largest impact because everyone else just hates him it's like he
right.
did not become the teacher he wanted to be unless I don't know unless this is truly his vision from the start of what he thinks a good teacher. I guess he is a man of tradition. He does love to uphold tradition there, but yeah, I think this I don't know. The ending was just so man, I don't know why. Every time I'm left wanting a little more from their goodbye. I felt a little more satisfied this time. But
You want
just
the hug.
yeah,
You want the hug. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like they made it. I like that's I don't know. It is kind of like the handshake. It's more of like it's more of funny now. Kind of like it's they just the look they give each other too of just like man, like it just the what a firm solid handshake and then just see ya, and then I don't know. I guess Paul gets the nice see ya, at
Yeah,
the
he's
end
like
there,
actually
but
about to cry and shit.
like
Yeah.
that's
No,
nice,
I
but
think
yeah. I don't know. I'm just
I had that thought too, just because I was like, I think we've talked about this expressly before the ending of this movie. So I'm okay with it. One of the things that sticks out to me is that that's the first time they touch at all in the movie. Um,
really.
yeah, they don't shake hands or anything at any other point in the movie. So, um,
Huh, okay. That does make it better.
like there is something there. Like and even so, I'm with you. I think that in a modern context, we probably do get a hug. Um,
Mhm.
but I do think there's I
Okay.
think they might be trying to show specifically with Angus's reaction and kind of his see ya, like
Mhm.
kind of what he literally says, I don't know what happened. I just know that I'm still here and you're getting fired.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
I think there's a kind of ignorance in youth and that naivete that just kind of like things worked out my way this time. He even, like he even recommends, like, what if we skip class and we go grab a beer and,
Mm.
all that stuff, which is,
Mm-hmm.
the opposite of what he probably should be saying to the person who just preserved his position at the school. Like,
Yep. You're like, damn, dude, I literally just lost my job so that you could stay in the school, and you want to skip instantly the first
yeah,
class
right.
right after, man. Yeah, no, but
And obviously he's saying it to Paul Hunt. I mean, the whole like, yeah, your logic is flawless, but you should stay.
but yeah, I guess the first touch, I didn't think about that because whenever I don't know if it is the first touch between Paul and Mary, but like whenever they're in the car and he just puts his hand on top of hers, and then Mary's just kind of like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, Paul, like what, like come, like
Yeah,
you
he's like,
sweaty
sorry,
hand,"
my
and he's
hands
like,
sweat.
"Oh
Yeah.
yeah." So I think maybe it is just kind of like he knows this too, and like this is why he just never touches people. I don't know, like he feels like it's just kind of off limits. And I think like that moment with Mary, he kind of even like I think he was hesitating, and it was, maybe just because he didn't know if they were there quite yet or whatever. But
Yeah.
then that it does make that handshake at the end even more, satisfying now. Of like it is they Paul or Angus doesn't react to, he's not like, oh well, he might have gloves on. I guess now I'm thinking. I don't know if he has if Paul has gloves on at the end there, if it was a
Oh yeah,
true
I'm not
skin to
sure.
skin handshake there. But no, it was just yeah, it is. I don't know, the first touch that was just not thought of as anything disgusting for him or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So
Oh,
um,
that's true. I hadn't framed it like that. Like, it's the first time he touches anybody in this movie, and it's like not met with repulsion or
hmm
revulsion. Sorry, repulsion is a completely different thing. Um,
yeah, and like actually wanted by the other person. It wasn't like just Paul trying
yeah,
to comfort
initiated
or
by
yeah,
the
it
other
was like
person. Yeah.
yeah. So, you know what? Okay, I'm coming around on it. And that's kind I don't know. I feel like this movie will only age kind of like fine wine. I'll just kind of notice a little bit more and more every now and then, every watch and
Mm.
yeah, and you're right, it's gonna be watched again before Christmas rolls around, and I don't know, it has to be kind of the movie every single year, and I don't know, I can't think of any other like because Polar Express is just such a different movie. I'm trying to think of just a Christmas time movie that's like actually that I don't know. It doesn't have to be non-animated, but like I'm trying to just think of any other Christmas time movie that like I feel like the gap between Polar Express and this is just so large, and there has to be a movie in between. Is what I'm trying like what I think, but
You
I
should
don't know.
watch It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay, well
Um,
maybe it is just I haven't gotten to him yet. Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, I'm the same. I was the same until like this last year into this year. There are a lot of great movies set at Christmas time
Mm-hmm.
that aren't strictly Christmas movies that emanate the Christmas spirit and everything you're supposed to feel during like. And I think the Holdovers, it's a little bit more it's a Christmas movie, like you're celebrating
Mm-hmm.
Christmas in the middle of it and all that good stuff. Um, like because like Die Hard, that's not a Christmas movie that's set at Christmas, but there's also this in between spot between there and something like Polar Express, where Polar Express is about Christmas. Like it is
Mm-hmm.
like Polar Express, Elf, Fred Claus, Christmas Story, Christmas Vacation, all that good stuff. Those are Christmas movies that were inspired by the idea of making a movie about Christmas. And Die Hard, that's a movie that's set at Christmas, but there's this in between ground where I think The Holdovers kind of lies, where it is a Christmas movie, but it's about a lot more than just Christmas. And It's a Wonderful Life occupies a similar space for me. And that's the sweet spot. The movies that aren't just about
Mm-hmm.
Christmas and aren't just set at Christmas. There's a middle ground there, and that's where you want to live. Um,
Yeah, it's in a good
Another good
zone.
one's Tokyo Godfathers. Got to check that out. Great
Mm,
movie.
okay. Yeah, I don't know. This I think genres in which I'm lacking heavily. Romance I think is number one. I think I've never dove into the romance movie genre. And then two, at least just for right now, I feel like yeah, I don't have a lot of Christmas movies under my belt. At all. It's mostly just repeat watches of the Polar Express, and that's it. So yeah,
Right.
I need to to broaden my horizons. Need to just start doing. And I don't know. I don't
It'll
think
be
I'm
one
gonna
of those
be.
things where you'll look into Christmas movies and you'll kind of be like, oh, there's a lot more good ones out there than I thought. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what happened to me. I was like, oh, wait, there's some pretty quality fucking Christmas movies out there that I was completely unaware of. I thought they were all the corny Hallmark movies and, shit like that. But there's more out there. There's more out there. But like The Holdovers, genuinely one of my all-timers now. And when we get to the 2020s ranked here in a couple weeks, you're probably not going to hear it for another month or so.
Yeah. It's up there. It is.
It's up there. It's up there.
Yeah, man.
But yeah,
we need. I don't know. Maybe Christmas time. These last movies that are coming in for 2024 will shake it up a little bit. But yeah, as of right now, man, last year was. It's crazy that this is not. It's just easily one of this year. I don't know. It is just without. I don't know. There's no even doubt in my mind. But last year there's just so much just competition. I don't know. It's just we were cooking, but man,
yeah, it was a pressure cooker last year, and hopefully 2025, we'll return. But you look at last year, and we got a fucking Nolan, and we got a Scorsese, and we got a Wes Anderson, and we got a Michael Mann, we got a David Fincher, and we got we got this, and we got a Gerwig, and we got all sorts of stuff that's just like, holy shit. Like, the auteurs were fucking cooking last year, dude.
Yeah, I
so
guess
like
stars align just a little bit. Yeah, I guess with just some big creators dropping, and I don't know, maybe there's it was just known. Those movies were marketed very well because of how known the makers were, and I feel like maybe there are just some that are, that have slipped through the cracks kind of this year that I just haven't seen at all because I don't know, they didn't have the marketing prowess of, hey, this is Christopher Nolan's just that's all you need, actually. It's just here's Christopher Nolan's next movie. Oh, by the way, Cillian Murphy's in it, and by the way, just I don't know, all the other things that come with it. But yeah, it's just
no, it's interesting though. Like last year, my 2023 ranking, it was like here, let me give you the directors of my top 5. Celine Song, so a debut. Wes Anderson, Christopher Nolan, Martin Scorsese, and Wim Wenders, who is a great director and has been around for a very, very long time. So you got those. And then my 2024 ranking, the only one who's got like any footing in the game on a substantial level is Luca Guadagnino.
Yeah.
I've got Rose Glass and Jane Shaneburn and Alicia Rohrwacher and Bertrand Bonello. Like, what? Like, that's not Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, Wes Anderson. Like, that's, and not to say that that's a bad thing by any stretch. I appreciate this year greatly for the fact that it's expanded my taste a little bit. I've been forced to expand my taste a little bit because, the big blockbusters, with that were made by M. Night Shyamalan and, Denis Villeneuve and George Miller and Francis Ford Coppola and, Richard Linklater and Yorgos Lanthimos and all that, like all those guys, they didn't make top 5 movies for me this year. They just didn't, so like, finding those spots, it's been nice. It's been nice. So I don't want to completely altogether dismiss this year by any stretch of the imagination, but it is interesting that I feel like, this year just it hasn't really held a candle to 2023 at all.
Yeah, no, and that's okay. There's peaks and valleys.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it just means we're due for quite the year next year. I don't know. But Batman Part 2, is that 2025 or is that already said to be 2026?
2026 now.
Yeah, dang it. So that's okay. That's in 2 years. But I don't know. I think
2026. We're going to be fucking cooking, though. I think we're getting a Spielberg, a Nolan. We're getting Batman 2. There's more there. I can't remember what it was, but let me see. I think Dune 2 is 2026, or maybe that's early 2027 now.
Man, yeah, I don't know. We need to but the gap, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't have to be that big name for it to be a good movie. And I feel like I don't know, maybe this is a time for the smaller, lesser known to shine. And
I hope so. I hope so. But yeah, no, man, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with the holdovers. I'm satisfied with everything we've gotten in 2024, and I'm excited to revisit one of our favorites of the year here in just a couple days on New Year's Eve. We are going to be covering Challengers. We've already covered actually quite a few from this year, so I don't want to discredit the year entirely. We've had a good time with it. We covered Love Lies Bleeding. We covered La Chimera. We've covered Furiosa. Yeah, like we've had our fun. We've covered Hitman and Monkey Man, and we've certainly hit some goodies. So like, I definitely don't want to dismiss the year altogether by any stretch. But we are going to be covering one of our mutual favorites in Challengers on New Year's Eve, and we've got one more movie in the Lord of the Rings trilogy coming this Friday with The Return of the King, and those will be our last movies for a couple weeks. Because in January we are going to be doing our top 100 of the 20s so far. We will have 5 years down in the 20s, 5 years to go. So why not go over 2020 through 2024 a little bit, see what we got there. And that's going to be in 10 parts, 2 episodes every Friday. The 90s and 80s, the 60s and 70s, the 40s and 50s, the 20s and 30s, and then the top 10 and the teens there. So I'm very, very excited for that. Over 5 weeks, you'll get 10 episodes from us. You'll actually get 11 because January 10th is my birthday, and we're celebrating every holiday, We're celebrating every holiday as we did here: Christmas, the Holdovers, New Year's Eve, Challengers. My birthday, we're getting free reign on our birthdays. Joe's got one coming up in March. I've got one next month. So on January 10th, we'll have a nice little special episode for you covering a movie, and I'll reveal that at a little bit later date. But yeah, you can expect a movie episode sooner than you'd think on January 10th. But then we'll be back at it in February. Movies every week, movies every week, movies every week, and I'm so excited for that. But yeah, with that, let's go ahead and rate this thing, and then I will do the plugs, and we can sign off.
Okay.
Tens?
I mean, I've been talking it up as if it is the Christmas movie, but yeah, it's also more than just a Christmas movie. This Not many movies get me to cry like this, and this was I don't know, it was so nice. It and great cries too. I feel so good coming out of them,
Right.
and yeah, no, I mean, I think quite easy here. Yeah, we're in no debate, no math needed for the overall here.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of how I feel. I'm like, if it's not a 10, it's a 9.75.
yeah,
But I'm just really, really impressed with it.
I mean,
and it's all the more impressive than I thought, which elevates it to, like, I already held it in really high esteem, and then I watched it again, and it got better for me, which is hard to do.
Yeah.
So it just kind of knocked my socks off. So I'm comfortable with a 10 there.
Yeah, it's like a different, like, Fellowship, just the most recent 10 that we've given. And it's like, on my favorites movies list, like, I guess I do have Fellowship above the Holdovers right now. But like, it's crazy that, like, there might seem like there's a lot of movies in between, but it's just, I love all of them that much. Like, the 5-star movies at the top of my list are all just, I don't know. It's
yeah, they're stellar. Like, I mean, shit. Where I plugged it in on my favorite movies ever, I'm calling it a 10, and I'm pretty sure I've got it at, like, I don't know, somewhere in the 80s. Like,
okay, wow, that's
like,
insane.
I love a lot of movies, man. That's why I'm like, I don't know, like,
yep, yeah, it's chilling at 26 for me. So I get, relatively, I think it's always kind of a good, I don't know. I always divide my number by 3 is what, or divide your number by 3 is what I've been doing in the past. But I don't know, maybe it's up to 4 now. 8. I mean, it's getting, I guess, kind of almost there, relatively. But I mean, it got quite the bump. I don't even know. I think it was in the 60s or something like that before, whenever I
Mm.
first opened up the list. But my favorites list is all kind of jumbled up. But I think the top
Yeah, I definitely need to
feels.
reevaluate mine a little bit too. I've just
Hmm.
been kind of slowly, there are some movies where I'm like, the recency bias was a bitch there.
Yeah,
Might need to move that a
it's
tad.
just an ever changing thing. I don't
Yeah,
know. It
man,
is.
like it's never gonna be a set. Like I could look at it any given day and move something,
Mm-hmm.
even if I haven't watched it recently. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, no, I'm there though. I think it's a 10. It
Mm-hmm.
just makes me feel that good. It's Christmas, man. It's Christmas. Let's the spirit of giving is with us. I'm gonna give this one a 10. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I think with that we can conclude this episode, and I can go ahead and do the plugs. If you would, head to TikTok, follow at Penny Bloom Dispatch, follow on Blue Sky, Penny Bloom Dispatch, and the Cinementalists. And for the most immediate coverage, most immediate contact, and all that good stuff, follow me at Colton Robertson on Blue Sky. Let's see. I think that's about it. I recently started doing YouTube for the Cinementalists. I decided we didn't have a YouTube for the Cinementalists, so now we've got everything kind of automatically uploading over there, which is nice. You can listen on YouTube now if that is somewhere you'd prefer to be listening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's about that. You can leave a 5-star rate and review and download wherever you might be listening. I hope you have a happy holiday and ring in the new year with us on next week, and we can watch some challengers together. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. With that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, you can't even dream a whole dream, can you?